Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So before we get into today's subject matter, which happens to be about Billboard Chris being arrested in my own country of Australia and literally over an hour away from where I am, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this story is absolutely absurd. Before we get into it, I want to let you all know that the Woke Dingbat shirts are now $40, and yes, I do ship internationally. So why are you guys waiting? Go and get your very own right now. It is available. Link is in the show description to make it easier for you all. And I hope that each and every one of you will get your very own Woke Dingbat shirt, especially because wokeness has decided to arrest Billboard Chris, believe it or not. Because if you don't know who Billboard Chris is, he's a great man from Canada, and he goes around with a sign, usually a couple of signs, saying children cannot consent to puberty blockers. And he has conversations with people. Lots of the time, he is either assaulted by trans activists or actual dingbats, woke dingbats, I call them. And well, he decided to come to Australia. He was in Brisbane yesterday, I believe, and he is going to be challenging the E-Safety Commissioner, because the E-Safety Commissioner is another woke dingbat trying to control everything that we say online, trying to make it so that we can't say things that she doesn't agree with. And I think that is actually nonsense. She's trying to keep the internet safe. Okay, and Billboard Chris had a challenge with her not that long ago, and well, he's going to be fighting it in court, and that is why he is here in Australia. And well, why he is here, he landed, I think, in Brisbane, and while he's out in Brisbane, he goes to the shops, and he's got his sign. He's off to the side. He's not really harming anyone. He's not interrupting anyone. He's not obstructing anyone. He is just standing there waiting for people to have a conversation with him. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, this goes to show you the state of Australia right now. Believe you me. And this is in a liberal state at the moment. Christopher Foley is our premier, and he's supposed to be liberal, and he's allowing this kind of nonsense to go on in Queensland, no less, for a Canadian that is doing the right thing. Christopher Foley is supposed to be against the trans narrative, but yet you've got Billboard Chris that is here, that's not doing anything wrong. And notice how the police decide to rock up and arrest Billboard Chris for what? The charge was obstruction. He wasn't obstructing nothing. This actually makes me really, really ashamed of what my country has become. Now, Australia is literally a laughingstock because the rest of the world goes, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you have a sign, if you're from another country, you come here, if you've got a sign that says children can't consent to puberty blockers, you can get arrested and charged. How crazy is that? Now, the charge was dropped because they got nothing to charge him with. It's that absurd. It really is. They fined him. They fined him for doing nothing. And this, whatever you want to like call him, there's a lot of people that are calling him Tubby, Mr. Tubby from council, goes up to him and wants to move him on. And then the police get involved. It's outrageous. Have a watch.
This is yours.
Okay.
Relevant legislation in which I've issued the ticket. Obstructing or unreasonably disturb any person lawfully using a mall.
Okay, so I've been told that my prohibited activity is that I'm obstructing or unreasonably disturbing any person lawfully using a mall.
Correct.
I have absolutely done no such thing. I was standing quietly.
Cool, you should get a f***ing job and, move on with your life,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Example of
I have
that
not
obstruct
done this.
users of the mall. This is because you're in this area.
So this guy that just came up to harass me, he's
first
using that as an example of me
So-
obstructing people.
The next step from here
Yeah.
is that we can issue an oral compliance direction, which under our local laws means that you have to cease the activity and possibly move on from the area. All right?
I'm not obstructing or unreasonably disturbing anyone.
All right. So once I move on with the oral compliance direction, this is what it looks like. All right. I'm going to step through it because it's the first time for me as well.
First time?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm very new.
No one's ever had a sign on this public street before, I guess.
They have actually, but
And how come
most
you didn't
people don't
interrupt
go
them?
this one.
How
Most
come you
people don't
didn't?
go this one.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, did we witness that just now, officer? That man came up to me to harass me. He's citing that as an example of me obstructing someone. Did that look like obstruction to you when that man came up to harass me?
Alright, so
Yeah.
in my opinion, as an authorised person, under the Council Land and Public Land and Council Assets Local Law 2014, Section 59, I am now officially requesting you to stop what you are doing and leave the area for a period of 24 hours. Alright, failure to comply with that now may involve the police. Alright, and they are authorised, assisting us as authorised officers under the City of Brisbane Act 2010 to remove you from the area.
All right.
Alright?
Well, I have not obstructed anyone. So
at this point,
this is
I'm requesting you to cease and
fault.
move on from the area.
Well, I haven't obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand quietly by myself having conversations. And last I checked, we were still allowed to have conversations, even about an issue that some people might consider to be controversial.
Alright, so we've completed the oral compliance direction. I've requested Chris to leave the area. It's up to him now if he complies.
Okay, so are you going to leave the area?
I'm not leaving.
Okay. So as you've been directed, I'm acting Sergeant Jill Shantle from Brisbane City Police Station, so you've been directed that you need to leave, well, stop doing what you're doing because you're currently obstructing the mall area, which has its laws that do not permit this activity. Okay, so we would now require you to leave the area. Okay? Are you going to leave the area?
So I've read the law, and I'm being told that I was obstructing people from their movement, which is not true. And I'm not disturbing anyone. I stand quietly, having conversations with people who approach me. And so I don't believe I'm in violation of that.
You are obstructing people, okay? So at this
How am I obstructing people?
It's been explained to you, okay?
Oh, that
So
was a lie, but
do you want to grab your things and leave?
no, I'm not leaving.
Okay.
So we now
Alright,
have
so
the power.
to arrest you.
Okay.
So we would much rather just move you on from
Yeah.
here and not
Somewhere
have to
else.
arrest you.
Yeah.
Just the mall area where these laws prevail, you just need to leave this area.
You are welcome to continue their activity outside the mall's area.
I totally disagree that I've obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand here peacefully having conversations, so. You know what? I'm a man of principle, and I'd be violating my principles if I were to move right now. I appreciate that you have a difficult job. I'm a great fan of police, but I'm also a man of principle, and I'm not going to move.
Yes, obviously she's going to give you a move on, and if you don't comply with that, then you will be obstructing us, and at that point we're going to have to remove you. We don't want to get to that point as well. We're trying, by all means, is to give you a chance of move on your own.
So we have the power to assist a official council worker. So that's where our power comes into it now. We'd like to just move you on peacefully, okay? But if you're not complying with him, then we have to, within reason, move you on from the area that he's asked you to leave, okay? If you're not, then you'd be charged with obstruct. It's just, I don't know why you would take that route over just leaving peacefully.
So you're going to criminally charge me?
Yes, but I'm telling you now, no one wants to under these circumstances, whether we're
And
with
so
you
what
or
happens?
against your cause.
And so what happens after that?
What do you mean, what happens after that?
I get arrested.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get criminally
Then
charged.
physically would have to remove you from here.
here.
And no, you have to, like, I know that you've got your cause and you want to make a scene and you want to.
No, I don't want to make a scene.
Well,
You're
Which is
free-
why,
you're
which
free
is
to
why I
do-
stood out of the way.
yep.
but you
over
are
by
in a
that
mall
pole.
I know.
area which has these
It's a public street.
restrictions. This is a mall area that has its own bylaws that everybody has to comply with, okay?
Yeah, and the issue is-
we don't have any issue with you going literally, what,
Out of the
100, 200 metres in any direction, and you're all good. It's just in the Queen Street Mall area, they have legislation which prevents this from occurring. I think
And the
we're all-
legislation states that I've been, the claim here is that I've been obstructing people.
We've had multiple people come up and complain to us about your sign, okay?
Well, that's not what the legislation is about.
I understand
It's
that,
not
but
about
that's why-
complaining about a sign.
But that's...
It's about
he's
obstructing
explained
people.
to you why you've been given that.
So if
I
I had
don't
a,
want to keep going around in circles.
if I had a
So
sign
can you
that
give your
said
approximate
Australia
time?
is a magnificent
Okay.
country and that offended somebody, would then I also be in violation of that law?
I'm not going to play silly buggers with you. You've been told
So
that
it's
you
only
need
because
to
of
know.
this message that I'm being arrested
No,
here.
because how do you know
Because all sorts of people have been here with signs, and he's never had to deal with this.
Against that sign, you have no idea. He's doing his job, we're doing our job. It's got nothing to do with what you're doing.
I wasn't obstructing anyone.
Okay. He's already explained this to you.
I was here earlier when police were here, and I was stood over by the pole minding my own business. He then came up and lied and said I was obstructing people.
Subsequent to that, we have received complaints. There has been obstruction. People have approached us. You've seen yourself the amount of people who've been stopped around here, which is causing an obstruction.
That's not because of me standing here. That's because of the scene you guys have created.
That's what the sergeant has to say. Just give her the chance.
That is because of the obstruction that you are creating. Now, do you have any idea at all?
I did not create an obstruction, and I'm going to stand by my principle.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So what happens? I get arrested. I get criminally charged with.
Give you a formal move on direction.
So I get criminally charged with what?
Thank you.
What's the actual charge?
So, as the sergeant said, she's going to give you an official move on direction, okay? Which will be for them all.
Even Elon Musk, my friends, commented on what's going on. Elon Musk is close to you-know-who, Donald Trump. So if Elon Musk is commenting, are you okay? He did the exclamation marks, 2 of them, to Billboard Chris. I'm being arrested for having conversations in Brisbane. Elon Musk, are you okay? Guaranteed Trump is going to find out about this. 100%. This is the level of insanity that makes Australia look like a laughingstock. They say they're all about freedom of speech, and guess what? They arrest somebody that is there, not harming anybody at all. And did you guys see the crazy dingbat that wanted to assault Billboard Chris? The police did nothing with him. Oh yeah, they're using him as a prime example of how Billboard Chris is obstructing people. When the dingbat came up to Billboard Chris and wanted to assault Billboard Chris, how does that work? Oh, the just random guy happens to come along when Billboard Chris is speaking to the council worker and then the police as well, and all of a sudden this random dingbat rocks up and wants to assault Billboard Chris, and they're using that as their example. Yes, he's here. This is what's funny about this as well. I don't think anything is really funny about this, but it's quite hilarious if you try and see the humor in it, right? He is here to challenge the freedom of speech issues that we've got in Australia. So every Australian should be thanking Billboard Chris. He is here to help our freedom of speech. He's challenging the e-safety commissioner because she's like, no, we can't have freedom of speech. We've got certain areas whereby you can't say this and you can't say that. You know why? Because I deem it unsafe. We have a dictator that is part of controlling the internet. And you say, oh, yeah, freedom of speech, it's no longer existent here in Australia. Well, it's not. If you've got police rocking up in public, no less, they've got these ridiculous orders and these little bylaws that they use all the time just when they feel like using it. He wasn't doing anything wrong. If Billboard Chris had been getting in the way of onlookers or shoppers and he had used his sign to push people around, that would have been considered obstruction. Oh, but he's standing there minding his own business, waiting for people to come up to him and have a conversation. Can't even do that because that's obstruction. It's the same thing when you've got people that are preaching on the streets of Brisbane, they get moved on. Or if you've got Israelis that are there waving the Israeli flag, they get moved on. But oh no, Palestinian protesters or anyone that is Muslim, they can pray, they can do whatever the hell they want to do in total freedom. But yet, Billboard Chris, Christians, anyone that they deem unworthy or a threat to public order, they'll move you on. You're in fact the problem. This is an utter disgrace from Australia. An utter disgrace. It is such a huge shame. And Billboard Chris, as an Aussie, I'm sorry, mate. I really am sorry that you had to go through this. Like, this is totally unacceptable. Like Australia, what the hell? In Brisbane, no less. Brisbane is not even it's not even supposed to be a incredibly woke state, but wow. In Brisbane, an hour's drive from me. How about that, right? Anyway, lots of people have been making comments and they're all in favor, all in support. Senator Babbitt as well, who I've been following, and I love his stuff. He said that his office will do whatever he possibly can. But this kind of stuff should not happen here in Australia. Absurd. Anyway, that's enough from me. But Billboard Chris, mate, I respect you. I see you, man. And I hope that this doesn't ever happen again while you're here. What a welcome, right? Welcome to Australia. You get arrested for standing on the street, minding your own business. Because your sign is apparently too offensive for some people. Unbelievable. Anyway, you guys take care. Be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.